It's your boy Big Pedro. I got Ricky Leaky in the building, the CrackBacks
Yo,
crew. We
yo.
got a 4-20 going on for you here. Another Knicks edition. It's fun to talk about the
Mixtape.
Knicks. It's fun to talk about the Knicks again. It's April. We're over 500. Looks like we're gonna have the playoffs, even if it's the play-in game. There are going to be some meaningful late springtime basketball going on with the Knicks.
Joe, I think I could speak for all Knicks fans real quick. I think they'd be delighted if we opened the show with Iman Shumpert. Ain't nobody messing with my Knicks.
Ain't nobody messing with my Knicks.
We got to get the clip of that.
My man Shump Street with one of the best putback dunks against the Pacers in the playoffs that year. Yeah.
Mhm.
Every once in a while, I bring that picture up just to make myself smile again. But we're going to get it going right here. You know how this works here. 4-20. We got 4 topics. We got 20 minutes, so it's 5 minutes apiece. And, 4:20, do your thing in between. So we're getting the clock started right now. And the first one, topic of the day, the Knicks as a team have improved overall. There are 2 people that have improved more than anybody else. Who's the most improved player on the Knicks? Because whoever is, in my opinion, and of course I'm slightly biased here, but in my opinion, whoever is between these two is the most improved is also your NBA's most improved player. Both of them taking huge jumps.
Right. Well, I think the guy that I'm going to pick is not the one that's going to win the most improved, just because I think narrative also has a little bit to do with most improved, where the guy I'm picking is RJ Barrett.
What about RJ?
Number one, he's coming from a much lower floor than Julius.
Yep.
In terms of where he was last year. And if you look at his trajectory right now, he's become you would say, a good, maybe really good NBA starter, right? At that position, a really good NBA wing is a damn good player.
Exactly.
Whereas, Julius Randle, his position is a little thinner in terms of the overall talent in the NBA. So it's much harder for RJ to establish himself as a wing.
Fair.
And actually, if you look at his numbers compared to Jason Tatum his second year, he actually is a little better. I'm not saying he's going to be better than Tatum. Don't put that on record. But his second year, contributing to winning, obviously, Tatum was in a better situation his second year too, of course.
Yeah,
but
a lot more talent around him. The Knicks are getting close, but not to what those Celtics teams were.
But yeah, just the poise, hitting big shots now. Even when he's not playing well in the first half, the team needs him in the second half. He's going to hit that corner spot up 3. So give me the Canadian Kobe, the Maple Mamba.
Absolutely. He said he retired that when the Mamba, met his untimely passing. Of course, R.I.P. to 8 and 24 to both of them. Kobe, fun to watch all the way through his career. You can't go wrong picking RJ. I agree with you. You said the first line you said was, "I'm going to pick the guy who is not going to win the NBA Most Improved." You're 100%. You're 100% right, because I'm about to pick the guy who's going to get the NBA's Most Improved. Nobody's taken a bigger leap. I can't think of an NBA player in recent years who's taken that huge of a jump in. It's not just his numbers. The numbers are slightly better than last year. He actually had pretty decent numbers last year. Yeah. He seems to understand the game a lot more. Things have, the old cliche of things have slowed down a little bit, and he's making players around him better. He's actually doing it this year. So Julius Randle, and I put on purpose to picture Julius Randle with the fade and not with the cornrows, because it wouldn't have even been fair if I put RJ up against Cornrow Julius. Cornrow Julius is the only player that can battle Cornrow Julius is Hoodie Mello. So actually, that would be a really good comic book. I'm making a note. Anyway,
I think Cornrow Julius is 7 games over 500.
Cornrow Julius does not mess around. Cornrow Julius get down in the paint. He knocks down threes. He rebounds. Julius Randle should win, and I can't really off the top of my head think, and I was thinking about this earlier, think of another player in the NBA that really can, if you put them side by side with Julius, who's going to win the most improved. No one's making that big of a jump. And on top of it, the team went from, 20 something games under 500 to at 500 right now. And they seem to be ascending. They didn't hit this plateau. We're supposed to have the hardest schedule. We did have that little 1-5 stretch there for a little bit, but the Knicks are in every game. Even in that 1-5, they lost to the Nets by 2. They almost, Embiid wasn't there, but they almost had the Sixers in Philly. They're close games. We're not losing by 25 and 30. We're actually blowing people out by 25 and 30, and that's mostly because of number 30 out of Kentucky, number 30 in your program, number 1 in your heart. Julius Randle should win the most improved. We should have quite a good amount of hardware in New York as far as the postseason awards. There, Tibbs has to be up for Coach of the Year. Randle, both of them really should be up for the award, but Randle should win the most improved. And Alec Burks, and we're going to talk about Alec Burks here in a second. He's our part of our second topic here.
Yep.
Alec Burks should win the Sixth Man of the Year award.
Here's Burks again.
I rolling that out there for you right now.
Okay.
And I know Lou Williams still exists. And I know that there's Montrezl Harrell, and there's what's your boy in Jordan Clarkson, who's having a really nice year.
Was that Kendall or Kylie's ex? Which one did he?
He probably dated both of them.
Yeah, probably. They like the light skinned brothers.
Exactly. Oh yeah. Well, Devin Booker's another one. We'll talk about him on another 4 and 20. But Alec Burks should have some hardware at the end of the year as well. You got 2 players on here. You see number 3, Noel, wearing John Stark's jersey number. And Alec Burks. These were 2 signings that were kind of underrated coming into the offseason, and both have played massive dividends. Noel's top 5 in blocks in the NBA and really held down the paint when Mitch went down. And Burks is, RJ recently has started knocking down jumpers in clutch moments. Burks been our most clutch moment player for the entire year, something that Clyde's actually started saying on the telecast, that, hey, Alec Burks, our most clutch player here when you need timely hooping. Which is the bigger signing at this point here? Your most clutch player or the center?
It's definitely Alec Burks. I think the Noel signing has become more clutch because of Mitch Rob's injury. So taking injuries aside, I mean, I think if you were just to do like just a spot up shooting contest with the players on the Knicks, the top 3 is going to be Reggie, Quickly, and this guy.
Yep.
And you can pick whoever may be number 1 depending on the day, but he brings in much needed shooting. He's one of the best shooters on the team.
And of the 3 that you said there, he's the one that can get his own shot off the dribble right now. I think Quickly he'll get there. Young guy coming in, he's slowing down, the game slowing down for him, all of that. He's got a skill set. All 3 of them have a skill set. They can knock down a jump shot. But if you need a bucket, you can clear off half the court for Alec Burks. And we didn't think this, at least I personally didn't think we were getting this type of player in Burks. I was maybe a little bit on the fence of, hey, we could have kept Dotson for cheaper. He knows the area. He's been part of the team. I really like Damian Dotson as a player, but Alec Burks vastly superior to what Dotson ever provided. He's played point guard this year when we were down to, I think it was just Quickly was in there, or it might have been just Alfred. He's played played defense against the other team's point guard. He's a big guard. He's a 6'7" guard. When you have him and you have RJ in the backcourt, that's a really big team that's out there. One of the reasons the Knicks are winning again is rebounding. RJ, a good rebounder. Quickly's a good rebounder for a point guard. Alec Burks, a good rebounder. And I'm still going to give Noel some love, because when when Mitch went down, you alluded to it earlier there, it could have been doomsday, because he was really the only rim protection we had. We haven't lost a step with Noel coming in there. Taj has played well. He's not the same player. Noel and Mitchell Robinson are very, very similar. Taj Gibson, a little smaller, a little better offensively, not the shot blocker of the other 2. But you can almost say that the Knicks look a little better with Noel. I know that's not the case, because Robinson's a better offensive player as far as offensive rebounding and the lobs. But it's close. I do agree with you that Alec Burks, because he stepped in, he's played point, he's played the 2, he's played the 3, he's played great defense, and he's knocked down huge jump shots. The Knicks are nowhere close to over 500 if both of these players on here, but I do agree with you that Alec Burks, the bigger of the 2 signings.
He was what, 2011. I think part of his issue, because I was looking at his numbers, he's not a bad player. I think part of the issue was that pre-draft he was compared to Clay. So if you're looking at in that scope, yeah, he's going to suck.
Yeah.
But he's more than a serviceable player in the NBA. And especially because he can shoot, the older he gets, the better he's going to get, while these other guys are losing athleticism. I mean, he's going to stick around for a while.
Young kids, if you're out there, learn how to shoot. If you can shoot, it doesn't matter how tall you are. It doesn't matter how great your handle is. Google is a guy named Steve Novak. Steve Novak was 6'10". He probably ran a 6'5" 40. He couldn't jump over a potato chip, but that man could knock down a three, and he had a nice multi-million-dollar career in the NBA. So if you can knock down a jump shot, that he was the man. I miss Steve Novak. Look at that.
Oh yeah.
All you do is shoot threes. You got two Knicks fans fawning over the guy right now.
Love that
go out in the driveway, get that elbow up, make that L, and start knocking down some jump shots. Yeah, but sometimes getting labeled something else can really pull you down. I agree with you. He's not Clay, but Clay's a top 50, 75, 100, whatever your list is, how far back you want to go. Clay's an all-timer. Burks is not an all-timer, but he's more than serviceable would be an insult to him. He's a really good player that's contributing to a team that's making strides this year that we haven't seen in a long, long time. This is for 420. Always flies by real quick, man. We're already on the third topic here. What do we do with this dude? Tibbs keeps starting him. He's still playing a ton of minutes, and I give him some credit because he cut that stupid shit that's on his head in this picture off.
That's just gangsta. I like it.
Oh my god, dude! It was he can't even look up, but he can't stay. There's no way he's a Knick next year. What are we doing with Elfrid Payton?
Yeah, no, there's no way he can stay. I mean, unless he enjoyed being here so much that he would take money like more like backup money.
I don't even want him as a backup, to be honest with you.
Yeah, and the only way he really would have a long-term home as a backup with the Knicks is if we can get more shooting. Because if he's the only non-shooter on the floor, he actually can be pretty valuable because he can play defense on a lot of guards. Fair. But that's the only time. Because we've seen some games where he starts driving and he gets in the paint, he scores. He's a big point guard. He can score in the paint against a lot of point guards.
Excellent defender as well.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so, no, I get you, but are you taking Mitch off the court to have him on the court?
Yeah, absolutely not. Absolutely not. So that's where it's tough. It's got to be matchup dependent. If there's a matchup where there's no home for Mitch, if it's like a really small team where you want to put like Randall or maybe hopefully one day Toppin at the 5, then you could see him on there. So it's going to depend on the price. If he likes being here and he'll take a hometown discount, he's a vet too. But the future in that position is a free agent, hopefully, and quickly behind him.
His lack of shooting is really bothering me. I don't actually see Quickly as a backup one moving forward. He's going to be the Lou Williams type. He's going to be a little bit of an undersized two. Mm-hmm. Maybe as he called it there, if he wants to stay on a real cheap hometown discount, I wouldn't mind him having next to Quickly because Quickly does make up for some of that shooting there. And Elfrid is a bigger guard, like you said, great defender. Tibbs, that's why he keeps getting played because Tibbs loves defensive point guards.
Yeah,
but he can't shoot. And when we've got a center out there that can't shoot, Mitch, we don't know if he can or if he won't. We've never seen him take a jump shot. And we've seen a few of the baby jumpers from Noel on the baseline. Sometimes they look okay, sometimes not so much. But you can't have this full offensive liability on the court, especially when the other team's on a run. It's fine when the flow of the offense and everybody's knocking down jump shots. It's fine. But when things start going a little bit bad, they sag off of him really far. They actually go to a little bit of a Giannis Antetokounmpo defense against the Knicks. Already sags into the paint and dares him to shoot. You can't have that in the NBA as your starting point guard. He's also a terrible free throw shooter. So he can't even attack the basket in the fourth quarter because if he gets fouled, he's going to the line. You're more than likely, getting 1 point, maybe, or 0 for 2, even worse. I don't like him. I never really liked him. I didn't want to re-sign him this year. I'd honestly rather have Frank Ntilikina getting the minutes that Elfrid Payton has. Start Derrick Rose, back up Rose with Ntilikina. You can always slide in quickly for a minute or two here. That we should have moved this guy at the trade deadline, even for a second round pick for another asset, to throw with somebody for a 3-team deal. if New Orleans wants to do a sign and trade or something with Lonzo. We need a point guard in New York. We need a point guard so that Randall doesn't have to bring the ball up so much. We need a point guard because when Derrick Rose is in there for the few minutes that he's played with RJ Barrett, RJ looks completely different when he has a point guard and Obi looks completely different when he has a point guard that's looking for him. I saw a stat the other day that for the entire season, Elfrid Payton has 21 assists to RJ Barrett, and they start and play a lot of minutes together. It's ridiculous.
And the one thing that I noticed too, when you're watching these Knicks games, the blueprint is out because obviously we don't have a lethal offense, but if it does get hot, the blueprint is out. Play a little zone and you ruin all the rhythm.
Yeah,
because it exposes one, lack of shooting, and two, lack of point guard play.
Oh yeah, we almost lost the game a couple nights ago because they switched to the zone. They switched to the zone in the third quarter.
We lost the Timberwolves game because of that.
Yep, Knicks are up by 18, and the next thing is a 2-point game, strictly because they switched to, and there's no floor general out there. What happened? Derrick Rose came back in the game, got things kind of righted. RJ made a couple of jumpers. The rest is history.
That was the Raptors game, yeah.
Yeah, he's got to go. Even on the hometown disc, that's the only way. Really, really cheap hometown discount to keep him around, to pair him in the backcourt with Quickly, because Quickly is going to have his deficiencies. He's a little guy, and he really doesn't play the point. He's more of a two. So
he's a combo guy.
Yeah, exactly. So he's going to get pushed around a little bit, or possibly pushed around a little bit. So you need a bigger guard playing next to him, which our guy we talked about on the last one. We want to, Lonzo Mourning. Oh my God.
And fists are flying at the other end. Larry Johnson is one of them. Here we go.
I should punch myself. I should punch myself right here. We want Lonzo Ball on the Knicks next year. Another big point guard. We'll probably have Derrick Rose till he rides off into the sunset on cheaper and cheaper contracts as long as Thibodeau is the coach of the Knicks. So we just need to get the new guy in, Lonzo Ball. And these two will be talking about him hopefully in a few months here when Lonzo actually does sign with us. We've been spoiled, all right? We're
very
Knicks fans, and we have the best announcers on the planet. Breen is not even a question.
Anthony for three. Bang! That one goes down, and the game is tied.
TNT, no, it's ESPN. I'm sorry. ESPN takes Breen away from the Knicks for big games. This is to tell you how great our announcer is. There's nobody better than Clyde, dressing, rhyming, using big words like neophytes. We both have the NBA ticket, so basketball junkies, but we'll pop around listening to other announcers around. They're absolutely terrible.
There's some really bad ones.
Really bad. I wanted to give a few minutes of some love to Mike Breen and to Walt Clyde Frazier.
Yeah, they deserve to be calling some winning basketball for once.
It's been a while. Clyde was there in the 90s. Breen took over mid 90s, so he was there for that last run. With Houston hitting the floater over the Heat and things of that sort. But you're 100% right. They've been through some lean years. Calling games with Chris Duhon starting at point guard and Alexei Zved, Andrea Bargnani. These names I'm throwing up my mouth a little bit here. Eddie Curry. We were excited when we signed Eddie Curry. They deserve better.
Mike Breen knew the last triple double was from Mario Hezonja coming off the bench in a game in Orlando. That's how much suffering they've been through, that he remembers Mario Hezonja's triple double.
He's looking for the tiny little bright side moments in a sea of unhappiness.
Yeah,
that he had to remember that Mario Hezonja was on. You're right. They deserve to call on a better team, on a winning basketball team. At the Knicks, like I said, we're spoiled. Even our B team is better than anybody else out there. Of course, Clyde's still going to be involved, but Kenny Albert's better than 90% of the people that are out there. He's another guy that gets plucked to do national games, also does hockey. Shouts out to Kenny Albert. And going a little further back, before Breen took over, the legendary Marvelous Marv Albert was on there. So my entire life, because I started when I was a little kid, it was Marv, and then obviously it's gone on to Breen and into Kenny. But living in Miami for a number of years and having to listen to Eric Reed with his Book It and the Slammer, and it's it's corny on top of corny. And don't come back at me and tell me that Clyde is kind of corny with the neophyte beginning to percolate. But it's just, it's Clyde. There's a certain level of charm behind it. There's a certain level of
Yeah,
Clyde.
he's cool. He's cool. You know,
He's the coolest man on the planet. And
Yeah.
I the next time I go to New York, definitely got to take a visit over to Clyde's Wine and Dine.
Wine and dine, yes, sir.
Have you gone?
No, I have not, but that's in the bucket list.
Absolutely. They were talking about it on the telecast, maybe like not telecast, on the game about 5 minutes ago, that they actually are reopened. So head out if you're in New York.
Okay.
Head out to Clyde's Wine and Dine. Have a few things. Tell me what I should have when we get up there. So you got 40 seconds here. Actually, no, you got 50 seconds. Open forum. What do you want to talk about?
So I saw a article which really pissed me off about RJ Barrett. He was working with this very reputable shooting coach. I can't remember his name right now, Tim something. And, you know, he mentioned that for lefties, because I mean, you talked about earlier about squaring the elbow shooting, but lefties are a little different. And he had RJ kind of put his elbow a little bit out to the side. And RJ was getting really proficient with it, getting really good. Fizdale, the second he sees him, says, no, you're changing that. And this guy fucking shoots at 25% from three when Fizdale tells him to change his form.
Well, we've been saying it for almost 2 years now that David Fizdale was a mole sent by Pat the Rat to destroy the Heat.
Yeah.
Sent by the Heat to destroy the Knicks from the inside. And we didn't allow him to do it. And now Thibodeau's turned us around. But that's 4 and 20 minutes. We'll holler at you, CrackBacks.